Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beatles Eternally channel for the July edition of Diamonds and Dice podcast. And I am here with my partner in crime and founder of the Diamonds and Dice podcast, Mr. Bernie Strom. How you doing, Bernie?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hopefully, everybody's doing well. We get some people in here. Had a broadcast earlier today talking about pretty much what Bernie and I would be talking about tonight. So we're hopeful that people will come on during the live broadcast, talk about some things with us, and also I do answer comments. I monitor comments and all my YouTube stuff, and I try to answer them and react to them as much as I can. So if you can't make it because it's been a Sunday night and you're catching this on a Monday morning or whenever it is, please comment because this is important. So the on the tin it says that this is the quest for and or quest for search for whatever the perfect baseball sim. So this isn't just about digital baseball sims, right, Bernie?
That's it. It's about all baseball sim.
Mm-hmm. So Bernie and I were it's something we've been kicking around for a little while, and so many of us we have lots of baseball. Hey, there's John DFW, Jack Dawson, and Samuel Smith joining us. So welcome in, gents. Hopefully, in the next hour or so, we'll have a good conversation. So what we're talking about tonight, it's kind of well, I'll put this on me. It's a little bit of a trick question because first, how do you define perfection, right? But what even if you could, it's going to be a subjective thing, right? I mean, I could say, yep, only God is perfect, but since we're talking about baseball, yeah. Um, but many of us we have many different baseball games, right? Cards and I know cards and dice guys that have tons of them. In fact, I'm talking to one of them right now, Bernie. Bernie's got quite a few of them. Lots of guys like Bernie and myself. We have a lot of digital sims, and so one of the things that we want to talk about is partially our accumulating acquiring these baseball sims. Is that because we have an ideal of what the perfect baseball simulation would be, and that's why we're getting these? Is it, I mean, certainly it's a hobby, so that's okay. So we're not going to worry about we collect as a hobby. We all do that anyhow. But is there something more, and is what is the perfect baseball simulation? Now that's going to be different things between a digital game and a cards and dice game. So I don't know, let's open up. So Bernie, since we're on here, I get to ask you the first question.
You got it.
And Tim joins us here. I'm glad Tim is here. Tim, big cards and dice player, and one of the rare people that has actually he keeps his collection very small. So he says, I guess perfection could be a 320 hitter, being able to hit 320, a good fielder having the correct range and air rating, a pitcher who strikes out 300 batters, and not having an OP card. Jeff Ray joins us. Welcome in. Good point, Tim. Fellow Bucko fan Jeff Ray joining us here at the ballpark. John DFW already. He is saying that it's because we are also searching for the perfect baseball sim. So that's going to be our talking point largely tonight. So Bernie,
Yeah.
you're playing baseball sims. What was your first? Hey, Parallel League. There's our good friend Parallel League joining us. So first part of the broadcast is going to be punctuated by greetings because you're all family. All right. So Bernie, first thing, what was your first? Let's stick with digital for a minute because I guess I'm biased. What was your first digital baseball game?
First digital baseball game was uh, Strategic Simulations computer baseball that I played on an Apple II. I bought an Apple II computer just to play that game.
Okay, that's going back a couple years there.
1980.
Okay, and at that time, they're right 1980. I think that were there even any other options in 1980 besides that for baseball sims, not baseball games, but baseball sims.
Not that I recall.
Okay, now at the time, so when you're playing that from SSI, did you find that it was, for lack of a better term and a terrible bad pun, a game changer for you?
Well, it what it did for me, that particular game,
Hmm.
and how I judge baseball sims is whether it puts me in the game or not. Do I feel like I'm watching a baseball game?
Okay.
And this was a it was a did it was a text-based game, of course, but it had a very rudimentary baseball field with a little blip that represented the where the baseball was hit and
Okay.
the speed it was hit. And for some reason, that rudimentary little blip, it's almost like watching Pong from the 1970s.
Hmm.
That 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 did it for me. I could when the ball was pitched, the ball came towards home plate, and you could what sticks in my mind almost 50 years later is I could tell it was a home run by the speed that the blip left the home plate area. If it
Okay.
went really fast, it was going to be a home run, and
This is
then
going to be a home run. Okay.
and if it went slow, it was going to be something else.
All
And
right.
it really got it got me in the game. I used to play it all the time.
So we'll take ourselves back to that time to 1980, right? And so did you find yourself, even though it immersed you, and I mean that's great. And so guys, remember, we're talking, this is before micro league baseball, this is before full count baseball. Those come in a few years later. So there was just this baseball sim, so you either could play that or you played cards and dice. Now let's back up, and now let's talk about cards and dice. So have you, and so guys, this isn't about which is better, and I know we say this every podcast when we're talking about the two, because we I would like to talk, and hopefully Tim, and anybody else here plays cards and dice too. But I know Tim, this was not preset. I'm so glad Tim is here, because he largely plays Strat. That's what he plays, and a couple other things. But you're not gonna catch Tim with out of the park baseball or any of this kind of stuff. He's that. Bernie is in terms of immersion in cards and dice. Let's start again with your first cards and dice game. What was that?
It was APA back in 1962.
So, geez, Appa at that point is 11 years old.
That's
Yeah,
it.
11 years old. Yeah, because Strat was only a year old by that time. So, what did you what and what sense did you find that to be like? Where was the immersion in that? Because you didn't have the blip going fast out of
Well,
the
what
park,
the
right?
first thing that got me with that game was the ability to accumulate statistics.
Okay,
I love statistics. I love all baseball statistics.
right,
And I used to love keeping score at a real game, and I love keeping score at an APA game.
nice.
And it was just, I'd never seen anything like it. I was 11 years old. I'd saved my money. I don't know what it cost me, $15 or something. And I mailed it away. And then a few days later, I waited for the mailman every day for 2 weeks till he delivered it. And I think as I think back at the game then, and think about the and I'm talking basic APA, not the advanced
Hmm.
version. It was the same as that. Remember, I told you with the SSI game, the speed of the blip. If it was going fast, it was a home run.
Right.
Well, when you roll a 66 in APA,
Hmm.
you don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to look at the card. You don't have to look at the results chart. You know it's a home run. It
You roll
feels like
box cars, it's a homer, right? Yep.
right. It feels like real baseball because if you're at a game, a pitcher throws the ball, the batter swings,
Right.
and generally, based on the sound of the ball hitting the bat, you almost know it's a home run based on the sound.
Very
And of
true.
course, in the sight, it's the same feeling you get, and that's why to this day I still play APA.
David Lando, welcome in. Yeah, okay. So now let's move forward a little bit into the mid to the late 80s. Now by that time, there are many more options for digital baseball. So micro league baseball is out by then. Earl Weaver baseball, makes its debut on the Commodore Amiga, but ends up on tons of other. Although, if you want to play Earl Weaver baseball, you got to play it using an Amiga or an Amiga emulator. That's really the only way to play Earl Weaver baseball, because it just did a lot more. The Amiga was such a powerful computer. So now, at that point, Bernie, if were you after SSI, what did you get into more digital baseball sims?
I was strictly digital baseball from 1980 to 2020. For
Okay.
40 years, I just played digital baseball, and I play the occasional APA game because I love APA.
So how would you describe your journey? And I know this is going to sound to everybody like such a canned question, but it really isn't. Was at least partially your journey in that 40 years of strictly digital baseball looking for the quote unquote perfect baseball sim?
I think it's always been my search.
Okay.
It's
Did you
always what drove me to buy every baseball game that I can afford to buy.
okay.
If there was an ad for a baseball game, I bought it, even if I only played it once and said, "Oh, this sucks."
So for you, did you like I mean after so after the initial this game is awesome, this game is wonderful, did you did you start were you starting to see shortcomings or were you starting to see I wish it had this, I wish it had that
Well, I
type
didn't
thing?
like games that look like cartoons on the
Okay.
screen, and a
Right.
lot of games in those early years look like cartoons.
They did.
To me, that just turns me off.
Hmm.
The digital game after SSI that really hooked me to begin with was obviously it was a strictly text-based game. Was Lance Hafner games? I loved his games,
Yep.
and I played that a long time. I liked I loved his sports games. I thought he did a great job in writing them.
Oh yeah. And again, just for anybody interested really quickly, there's going to be a big update coming this summer for full count baseball. So and it's free, an important part of baseball gaming history. It didn't have the advertising budget or exposure that Minor League Baseball had, but excellent game. I played a little game of it actually before coming on the air tonight. So, Bernie, did you, and again, you please feel free to ask back to me too. This is our equal kind of
Yeah,
show
no
here.
problem.
Anybody else too. But just to try to start to get a handle on this, is were you aware at that point? I mean, was it a conscious thing like, but I'm looking for something more? Like, were you aware, or was it just a sort of subconscious thing? Like, oh, this new baseball game is out. This looks cool, but you weren't necessarily making a comparison to what you had.
Well, by the time these games came out, I spent most of my time working and raising a family.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't spend a lot of time on this hobby. I spent time at it when I could. You would
Okay.
steal a couple hours here, a couple hours there, but I really didn't get into it
Okay.
to the degree I'm into it now, for example, or since 2020 when everyone rediscovered either cards and dice or digital gaming when COVID hit and they
Right.
were stuck at home for all those months. That's when this whole thing exploded, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Uh,
I
so
think you're right.
I played a little bit there. The next game that got me to the the next game that got me after Lance Hafton was Diamond Mine Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Diamond Mine Baseball, it was Action PC Baseball when that one first came out.
Which is up here in the background for everybody. There we go. Boom. Okay.
Uh, but I didn't really begin my quest for the perfect baseball game until COVID in the 2020s, in the last 6 years, five
Right.
years. That's when my quest, where I have about 20, 25 computer baseball games on my machine and another 40 cards and dice games sitting here in my office.
Wow.
I just bought every one I could. I just wanted to play every baseball game that was easily obtainable without having to spend a lot of money.
I like that, and that leads me to something we were talking about right before we went on the air. You were saying that many of us, have with like all these games, but a lot of them just taking out of the box, virtual or otherwise, we play a little bit and it gets shelved. So, do you find that in your quest, and certainly not tilting at windmills? Sorry, I've been waiting all day to use that. Um, that you found that maybe the games that are your go-to games, do you find those to be as close to perfection that exists right now for you?
I don't. I don't think any of them are perfect. I
Well, no, none
think
of them are perfect, but I guess what I'm saying is you have I know that you know like because I follow your channel very closely, so I know you out of the park baseball, and PC replay are two that you play a lot. So I guess what I'm saying is there's a reason you play those two, maybe as opposed to baseball mogul, let's say,
Well,
or what have
I
you.
play I well and I play baseball mogul and I buy it every year even if I don't play it,
Yeah,
but
same here.
which is
Same
really
here.
sick.
Yeah.
But to make a long story short, with PC replay baseball, I play that a lot because love playing cards and dice, but I hate the setup.
Hmm.
I hate looking things up on charts. I really hate doing mathematics. And
Yeah.
the computer does all that for me in the background. So it is a cards and dice game with the ease of digital.
Hmm.
And
Hey,
if you
Dwayne.
and that's why I really like PC replay baseball. Uh, Out of the park baseball, just point blank, it's the most visually perfect game made to date
For baseball sims,
for
for baseball
baseball sim.
sims, yeah, I agree.
Correct.
um so I mean, this idea of perfection, right? I mean, maybe so again, that's why I put it in quotes on the tin there. Family is that there isn't, and there's never going to be, because the only perfect baseball sim, and one might even question that, is actually going to a baseball game. And if it's major league, forget it right now, or any professional, any baseball, really, right? Because of all the craziness. But I wonder if maybe just as a sort of group here for the next little while that we talk about, and guys, please feel free, type, put in the chat. Let's start with this. Whether it's cards and dice or digital, what do you look for in a baseball game? Okay,
I
so
do have a question though, Beatles, for
oh
you.
yeah, I just wanted to add two things. First, Out
Go
of the
ahead.
Park 26 is up here just because I just wanted something on the screen. Action PC is on in the background. Doesn't mean this is great. Kate Beckinsale is indeed perfection, cousin Ken. I would agree. However, I have to devote an hour of my life of not thinking about Kate, and you've just derailed it. The other thing, I forget what I was going to say, because see what happened? Kate Beckinsale. All right, what was your question, Bernie?
Of all the baseball sims,
Yes.
you got APA, which is everything's based off the hitter's card with some adjustments based on the pitcher rating.
Hmm.
And then you get the 50-50 games like Stratomatic. These are two extremely successful games with
Right.
long histories. And if they weren't good baseball sims that accurately portrayed the game, they wouldn't be around today.
You're
Uh,
absolutely right.
the one game, and I don't play it much. I play it once in a while, but I don't play it much because I don't like to. First of all, I got to find it among all these baseball games, which is hard to find because I've got all these plastic boxes full of cards and dice games. Anyway, I got to find the game, and then I got to set it up, and then I got to keep score by hand,
Hmm.
and then you can't do replays with them because other than Mike Silver, I don't know, and maybe Ken Castro, I don't know anybody that plays every game of every season.
Except that dude that put up that does, I don't know, that Ken Castro told us about, that does, like, I don't know how many thousands of games per year. He plays every game of every season that he does. But we don't know the guy, so yeah, right? Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the game that I would like to hear from the people in the audience and from you about
Okay.
is the game I think that portrays baseball the most accurately. I could be wrong because I don't play it much.
Okay.
Is payoff pitch.
So I don't play it, so I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't have payoff pitch.
Well, the reason payoff pitch I like, it
Hmm.
starts with a dice roll, and then it starts with the pitcher pitching the ball. Now it's either a good pitch or a bad pitch or
Hmm.
whatever it is. Group of there's a whole group it could fall into. And
Hmm.
then after he throws that pitch, the batter swings or doesn't swing, and that's based on another roll.
Right.
And that is the only game where the pitcher batter interaction is equal on every play, and that's why I think that's the most realistic game there is. Now I've got to play it more if I'm going to back up what I said,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
and this podcast will probably make me pull it out this week and play it.
Cool.
But I'm curious if anybody in the crowd does play payoff pitch and what they think of it.
So payoff pitch, guys, sound off, please. I don't play it. I've never played it. I've watched a couple guys on YouTube played it. It intrigues me. It doesn't go back far enough in history for me to actually give it a shot, but it intrigues me. It does look like a pretty cool system. So what do you guys say? The other thing I remember I wanted to say is when we were talking, I don't want to split hairs. So again, we're not going to be talking about games like MLB The Show, which was originally meant to be a Twitch game, an arcade game. What Legends and some of the modders have done with that game to make it a baseball sim, that's really beyond the scope of this. So we're going to try to stay away from those games. That's just the other thing I want to say. So this is not an endorsement for Out of the Park and games like Hardball and all those things and MLB The Show. We're going to try to sort of push to the side. All right. So while everybody thinks if they actually own payoff pitch or play it, I've also noticed like some games tend to like they had their sort of moment in the sun and then just kind of went away. I remember for a little while, and I was still in Europe, there was a lot of guys playing pine tar baseball. Now I don't see anybody playing it. So does the game suck? Did that not meet even close to perfection or even mediocrity? Um, what makes some games stay? In other words, so Out of the Park, baseball, for instance, first edition was 1999, and here we are. We're still playing it. Some of us are. I've been playing since the very, very beginning. Action PC baseball has been around since 2001, so only 2 years, the junior of Out of the Park baseball. Some of us are still playing baseball for Windows. You know, that's a regular one here on this channel. I love it. It's a deep, great baseball game. Um, so John says he doesn't own Payoff Pitch, but he's interested. So John, if you don't mind a bit of typing, what interests you about Payoff Pitch? Is it just to acquire another game, or do you like the system that Bernie mentions that he feels is more accurate as opposed to some other sort of sims out there, or cards and dice sims? I call them all sims, yeah. Um, so how do we judge perfection? And again, it's subjective. So for me, at least, I want freedom in a game. So that's why partially why I don't do cards and dice is because it's very expensive. So there's the lack of financial freedom, but there's also that lack of I want to be able to kind of create what I want. Doesn't make cards and dice bad at all. It's just how do I look? What am I looking for in a baseball game? And so initially, so I want to be able to, if I can imagine it, I want to be able to create it or at least come very close. John answering the question here, he says the fact that every play starts with a pitcher and what kind of pitch he threw, just like real baseball. It's pretty cool. I like that. Um, Ken here says got to 152 of a 1965 Phils replay as well. The ball stats are lost in the space. Apparently, also wrote them all, and that's another thing too. Is that accumulating stats? So unless you're doing something like Digital Diamond or Pocket Pennant Run, which will actually keep stats on games that you don't play, that's kind of a tricky thing there. I think because I don't know if you get do you get a sense of a pennant run when you're playing cards and dice? Because my experience playing cards and dice was always against my best friend and I would play in undergraduate at Penn State when we were undergrads. That was an absolute blast. But I'm going to also say that even with some digital games, like Baseball Mogul, I don't get the sense of being in a pennant race. So that's another thing for me. But so freedom, um, accuracy, boy, that's a whole. We've had a couple of podcasts on accuracy, and we could have many again. So that's for me. So I'm going to say that my first criteria is, as far as what perfect means for me, is can I create this scenario, this league, this thing? What can I do with this game? So that's for me. Bernie, do you have like an initial sort of criterion? Let me do this properly, proper English, criterion, single. Do you have an initial criterion that you set for a ball game? Like
Well, I like games basically that are believable. They don't have to.
believable.
If I do a season replay,
Hmm.
I want something to be different. I don't want it to be an exact duplicate of the season. You know, a lot of people buy last year's cards when they come out
Hmm.
this season
Hmm.
and replay last season and want to duplicate what they saw in person. That's not what I like to do. I like something to change.
Hmm.
If you
Right.
follow my replays, I like the Red Sox results to change, which rarely happens, but on
It
occasion.
really happens, right? Yeah.
But it occasionally changes. But I want something really unusual to occur, something that didn't happen in real life. And if I can believe the game and it's mostly accurate,
Hmm.
and some unusual situation happened that might never have happened before in baseball, then I'm really excited about that particular game. And games that allow that to happen are the ones I enjoy the most.
I like that. So it's that narrative. I like that too, and I have to agree with you. To me, um, you know, I'm still learning baseball history, and all of us are learning baseball history. Probably even John Thorne still is too. Um, but I basically know what happened. I want to create that new narrative, and if it happens, that as long again, yeah, as long as it's believable. So, if Rafael Belliard all of a sudden has 50 home runs, that baseball game is going to go in the bin. That just Belliard is not going to ever hit 50 home runs in 100 years. I think he had one in his career, or at least I think maybe like one or two. I remember because he hit it off Eric Shao, his first one. The late lamented Eric Shao hit it in San Diego. Belliard hit a home run. So believability. Parallel League says cards and dice doesn't have to be expensive, and you're right, it doesn't. He says he grew up playing Status Pro. I love Status Pro baseball, by the way, and they gave you the formula to make your own cards. I do remember that. My buddy and I were like, because that's what we played a lot as undergrads with Status Pro Baseball. Dude, we can make our own cards, and we realized, wait a minute, this can take a while to make our own cards. So we just bought, like all time grades franchises and stuff like that. He says, yes, now Digital Diamond has all the seasons in it for free, as does Pocket Pennant Run. So yeah, so we certainly have more options. Tim says to us, and subscribe to that channel, guys, please. Says here's another one for perfection. Do I want all the players available to that team? Do you mean if you mean in a season replay? Yes. What about you, Bernie?
I don't need 100% of the players.
Okay.
If a guy gets into 3 games and's got 5 at bats, if you're not going to card him, I don't give a shit. I'll use someone else. If
Okay.
that, I like starting my replays using as played lineups, but once the first roll of the dice or the first click of the mouse occurs, then it's my game. It's no longer baseball's game. I'm going to
Hmm.
do with that game what I want to do.
Okay. Good point.
And I do not need all the players. Although, I have no objection to all the players because generally speaking, I like games that have PDFs because I'll download this PDF season, I'll print out the cards for the games I'm going to play, and I don't print the rest of them because there's just no way you could store all these cards for all these games. It'd be impossible.
Sure. A parallel league says we had fun making the cards. He says I remember we had a 1971 Street and Smith's magazine. Do they even still print that magazine? And we used it to make all the teams. That's really cool. That is super, super cool. Tim says to us, Bernie, he says, because I'm thinking about doing a 7 game series between the 98 Yankees and the 76 Reds, and Shane Spencer isn't carded for him and not sure he wants to pay the $15 for 3 months just to pull his card. Yeah, there is that. Well, then there is that app that you know about too, Tim. But yeah, I get that. So, and I
By
know
the way,
that's
that Strat Max is one of my favorite games right now. I love Strat
okay.
Max.
Let's talk about that because that's cards and dice in a digital format. Why? What is about Strat Max that you love, Bernie?
I love playing Stratomatic, but I hate doing all the chart looking up and additions and subtractions and the X shit. I just don't
Hmm.
like it. It to me it slows up the game and ruins the flow. When it's on the computer does all that stuff, and
Right.
the play, you click the button, the pitcher throws the ball, and the play is instantaneous.
So, oh, the card app is done. I was wondering when they were going to get rid of that because I remember when it came out, I'm like a person could just go and screen cap like strap saying, "Here's all the cards." And I'm like, "Are you guys sure you want to do this?" Because there are people that have time in their hands who would have screen capped all kinds of stuff. John DFW says he loves Strat Max too. I'm almost wanting to jump back into it, but I've also heard that Apago is making some upcoming improvements, much needed improvements to Apago. So I may hang in there and wait. All right, so basically, Strat Max does what, dare I say, Out of the Park already does, right? And those games, but this way you get your Strat fix, but without all the housekeeping.
I
Would
don't
that
have to
be
buy the
appropriate?
cards. I don't have to
Have to buy the
store the
cards,
cards.
and
Uh,
every season's available, and
and
every
every
season's
season's
available.
available. And I know it's expensive, but I've always had a disregard for money. So what difference it make?
You're a good man, Bernie. You're a good man. No, I mean I've thought about it, but it's $22 a month. I'm like, hmm,
It's not
hmm.
that much now. I think it's cheaper.
Really? Because it was $22 a month when I signed up before. So I'll have to look again. But I want to wait because see if John Hurston because I like Strat, but the card games or the cards and dice games I played in order were Status Pro, Appa was second most, and then Strat. And Strat, and I think the only reason was my buddy and I tried to jump in and play super advanced like from the get go, and that was stupid. And we're like, this game's nuts. And we should have started with just good old basic on the other side of the card strat, and we didn't. We started in super advanced, and you guys know I've done we've done a couple of Tim's games on here. I'm going to get more on here when he's willing and he doesn't even play with all the super advanced. Not that he can't, but he's like, well, I use it for this or what have you. So John says $20 a month isn't bad for StratMax. It's not. So my thing is, I don't want to. I'm not going to like. And believe me, guys, I'm not trying to open up a debate about it. I'm still trying to justify why would I pay, um, $240 a year for every season when I've already got them in this game for free, and this game, which I had to pay lots of money to get them all. But I did like it. So $15 for 3 months, and then 20 per month for the first year is $119.99 for the first year, and then $200 for advanced. Okay. Um, what if I remember What If Sports? Parallel League asks anybody here play baseball in What If Sports? It's progressive leagues on that site. It was fun, but it got a bit expensive. It did. I liked it until it was like now you got to pay to do this. I'm like, whoa, no. And there's this other game too. This guy, I forget who he is, but you get all these like big fat books with it and stuff like that. But when you start totaling everything up, Jesus, I could buy myself a house for it. I mean, it was expensive. Okay, so but we have that. So what about and so we've already sort of talked about the immersion factor. This is where I'll put in my 2 cents because I talked about freedom and I talked about immersion. And so this guy gives me both right here, out of the park 26 for me, because even though it's a bit of a pain in the arse to work at the player level on this game, um, I can pretty much do what I want in out of the park baseball. If I can, tournaments, I can create any sort of league that I want. I can pretty much do it all here, and it looks really pretty. Whether you're just using the 30 ballparks that come with the game, which are gorgeous, or you're also using Mike Silva's masterpiece ballpark mod plus his uniform mod. So you've got the immersion factor. The other thing too is because I was in Egypt, well, not in Egypt, I would do it again, buying all the seasons for this guy. Again, I can pretty much not to the extent of out of the park baseball, but I can create damn near anything I want, at least at the major league level in Action PC, and that's the same. Baseball for Windows, extremely flexible, and I got a Hall of Fame broadcaster. Diamond Mine Baseball. Um, I'm immersed. That play by play text just pulls me in big time. And what's been weird is, as you know, I used to keep it as just something on when we had our Saturday night baseball chin wags, which will come back at some point. Um, I just been out busy singing and drinking on Saturdays, so. Um, but and I would just have it on in the background. And I thought, you know what? I like this game. And Dwayne Martz taught me a lesson. He said, broadcast even if nobody's there. And I thought, nobody's going to come to this thing, man. It's just me reading. I don't have Chris Slovic voice or Legend Sports Universe voice or whatever. The people were hanging out and really liked it. And some people bought it. I'm like, okay. So it's fairly regular on this channel. I'm glad people are enjoying it. So here's H-Field 07 talking about one of the big guns. He's in the big guns in the Outlet Park community. Is this guy right here? He says StratMax is decent. He says he subscribes every few months because it's fun here and there on his phone for a month. Fair dinkum. But he also says the sandbox and customization within Outlet Park is unrivaled. I would totally agree with that. If you're willing to put in the time, it's worth learning the ins and outs of how that game works. Likes the UI. The early UI, you guys, I've shown you Out of the Park 8. It was kind of like, but yeah, it's Out of the Park baseball, I think, can truly, and I don't want to sound like a commercial for them, but their infinite baseball sandbox, I think they can definitely lay claim to that. Except for them needing to sort of work on the 19th century. I don't know how they're going to do it. It really, really is. Okay, so there's that. So Bernie, again, I'm going to press you on the question though that I'd asked you before. We'll leave Action PC up here for a while so we can have some love.
Okay.
Bring up another game. So again, you have certain games, as I do, that are our go-to games. So my question for you, and then you, of course, you can ask me the same question: why are the games that you choose to broadcast on your channel? Why are they your go-to games as opposed to other tons of digital baseball games that you have? Or, with all the cards and dice games, you could certainly do as Dwayne does, as our Red Sox fan does, set up a little webcam action there, and you're rolling the dice, buddy, and you're off to the races. What do you have any sort of conscious criteria by which these are the games that I play the most, and here's why?
Well, yeah, I'd say so. First off, I don't have to, if I play a digital game
Mm-hmm.
on my channel, I don't have to set anything up.
Okay.
So I don't have to clean my desk off. I don't have to set up the field. I don't have to point a camera down on the field or a
Right.
camera at the dice tower.
Midlife crisis. Good evening. Go ahead, Bernie. I just like to
Uh,
say hi to everybody. Say come in.
It
Go ahead.
be tons of setup time, and then you got to break it down after it's over.
Mm-hmm.
That saves me a lot of time. I play PC Replay because I like cards and dice games.
Okay.
That is a cards and dice game. That is not a digital game.
Okay. Now let's talk about the other two that you have played though. Action PC baseball and Out of the Park. Now I've noticed that Out of the Park baseball is the one that you're doing one of your replays on, not Action PC. What
Well, I oh,
why is
I
that?
did do an action PC replay. That's another story.
Oh
But
yeah,
but
please tell.
out of the park baseball I use because it's just visually so pleasing. It's like watching baseball for me.
Yeah, it is.
It's as close. I think out of the park baseball is as close to the perfect game that exists today. I like watching it. I like broadcasting it. I actually do it for myself. I don't do it really to entertain anybody.
Hmm.
I do it so I have a record. I put it on YouTube
But I
so I have
find you very entertaining, Bernie.
well,
I'm just telling
thanks.
you. Yeah, yeah.
But but I do it to keep a record of my replays. If I want to go back and watch a game, I get to go back and watch a game.
Cool.
Uh, anyway, that's why I use Out of the Park because I believe it's the most visually pleasing and closest representation of baseball that's on a baseball sim. That's and I'm going to use you. MLB The Show is a different category, so let's just leave that to the
Right.
side
I
for now.
mean that. I mean, if we were to include that, that is visually and everything. That is the most immersive baseball game you can play.
By the
Although,
way,
even
I've
though they
played
look
it.
cartoony, Super Mega Baseball don't sell that game short. That game is super deep,
I've
actually.
played it a few. I bought it and played it, and
Yeah,
you're right. The cartoon part of it bothered me.
that but doesn't bother me at all. I love it, but but I'm just
By
saying
the
it's deep. But go
by
ahead.
the way, I think MLB The Show is not a bad simulation game. You can play it as a simulation.
Oh,
I
you're
don't.
right.
I
Legends
I
taught me that, man.
I played it every year up until I started this Field of Dreams thing that takes up so much time. Half my projects had to be shelved. Didn't have time to do all of them.
Well, regarding that, and regarding MLB the Show, I will say this: that if they would actually provide support to modders, really, really, like, because I don't know, San Diego Studios just isn't getting that modders make the games live or die. They just do. It's there are very few games out there that don't allow mods that are still surviving. There are some, but there's not a lot. I mean, and we can go back to the game I'm going to cite as a non-baseball game. Doom is the game that opened it all up, right? John Romero and everybody said, "Yep, we're going to let people create their own levels," and people went to town. I remember playing as Simpsons. They were called WADs, if you guys remember the files for Doom. I remember playing The Simpsons, man. It was really cool. Running around as Ned Flanders throwing Bibles at everybody. It was hilarious. Um, but I realized very quickly too, I get motion sickness from first person games. So it was like weird. I could play flight simulators, but I can't play those. So I was like done with that. But it was a blast. But MLB the Show, if they would do that and actually make that franchise mode more customizable, I would be playing the living crap out of MLB the Show because it's fantastic. The animations are beautiful. Um, but the thing is, as Legends has talked about, he hasn't felt the need to buy any of the new versions because you can't transfer like rosters that you've created, and he's put so many hundreds of hours into creating that amazing baseball league that he has. He couldn't bring that forward, so he's still an MLB the Show 22.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
here's a guy that would have bought it every year. I bought a few editions of it. In fact, I bought a PS5 just to play MLB the Show, but it is a sim. And I think you've got to put the work into it that Legends has done to make it a sim that's going to approach something like Out of the Park Baseball. I still don't think it's there because I know I'll watch his games, and about the seventh inning on, he's got to really start monitoring bullpens and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
what he does,
the
yeah,
AI needs a lot of work.
needs a lot of work. But again, that game wasn't originally meant for that, right? But great stuff. So failing that, I mean, but if that was as robust, statistically robust and everything as Out of the Park Baseball, MLB the Show would win hands down all the way. Yep, Ned Flanders and Doom, Tim, I kid you not. Let me go back and catch a couple of these that I missed. So Jeff Ray says he likes the freedom to create any project that he can dream up. Amen, brother. And he does themed projects, all time greats, Zodiac, that's fun. Last Digit of Birth Year, State Country of Origin, Stock Teams, Tourney, Short Stuff. Now, for Jeff, interestingly, he says Strat PC gets him there faster and easier than any other game. He says, plus the flight of the ball and sounds gives him the immersion he needs. So for Jeff, if I, just because we're talking about this sort of perfection thing, perhaps Strat PC is the closest maybe for you to a perfect baseball sim. Would that be fair? Um, so let me see. Tim asks, did they rip off any Metallica songs like they did with Master of Puppets? Oh man, boy, isn't that a hot button? In fact, one of my favorite bands, Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. They just got not baseball related, but just you'll find the story. They are pissed, and I'm so happy. I'm proud of Black Rebel Motorcycle Club for what they've just done, a cease and desist order. Anyhow, Midlife Crisis says, I told my wife a few years ago not to let him ever buy the show ever again. It was like crack. He said he was neglecting everything else he likes to do. Um, it's insane, isn't it? It's insane. But at the end of the day, for that, when anything you create has to have 30 teams, well, you've already lost me right there because I just want to do a 16 team dead ball league, and I can't do that in there, unfortunately. Um, but it's a great game.
Speaking of
Great game.
AI
Yeah.
deadball,
Mhm.
I Have you ever? Here's a question for you. Have you
Yeah.
ever run into a digital game
Hmm.
that its AI was as adjustable as out of the park for the different eras of gameplay?
A few of them were close, but I will say this, and I've said it many times: one of the strongest sellings of Out of the Park baseball is also the one most people don't pay attention to. I have never, and I've played a lot of digital baseball games through the years, and I have a lot of them. Out of the Park baseball is the only digital baseball game that it's eerie. Again, none of us we're in the dead ball era. None of us were old enough, right? I mean,
It does
it's
play the dead
perfect.
ball
It's
era
perfect.
perfectly, I think.
It's freaky. It's freaky, and yet most people who play baseball don't care about 1906. I do. Ken Castro does. You do. You become a dead ball guy yourself. We care, but the majority of baseball gamers don't care about the dead ball era, and yet it's
If I'm
one of the things it
managing an
does
out of the
best.
park baseball game, that even if it's a dead ball,
Uh huh.
I am not going to sacrifice bunt with my cleanup hitter.
But it will.
But they used to do it all the time.
They did it, and Out of the Park does it, and
That's right.
it's eerie, and it's just getting better and better at it too, because it's like, oh my god, it's doing what a dead ball manager would do, and I know that just because of the years and years and years. So when I was a little kid, I already loved dead ball baseball. I mean, I've loved that era of history, that era of baseball all my life, and so I've read so much on it, and it's really weird and eerie to watch that game do, right, like you're saying, bunting with a cleanup hitter, things like that, or even crazier things, Ken Castro style attempt to double steals with 2 outs. I've seen it do it, and they did that in the dead ball era.
The
You
I
know.
learned how to manage dead ball baseball by watching out of the park baseball play itself.
Oh yeah, it's just incredible to watch. And then, again, going back to, if you guys, if you've ever read Glory of Their Times, which is really kind of like the Bible, if you want to, as far as like actual interviews with the guys that played in that amazing Wild West crazy era of baseball, or tales from, or just whatever, any sort of dead ball crazy '08, um, and
By the
then
way,
you
I don't mean to
watch.
change the subject, but
Yeah.
Jeff, you just put something on the screen
Oh
about
no, I have it here.
history
Yeah.
maker baseball that Jeff said.
Oh, well,
Now, there's
get
a
there
game
too.
I love playing.
So he says, for me, yes, Beatles strategy or Strat PC is closest to perfection for real players. So for fictional players, History Maker, except for the chart looks up, Bernie, amen on all you said about setup. So I don't play fictional players at all. So, but I don't know. For those of you that do, Bernie, do you ever do have or
No,
have
I
you
don't
ever
play
done?
fictional
You
players
don't
at
play,
all, but
okay?
I play real players with History Maker baseball.
And how do you like
History
it?
makes Even with the chart lookups for me,
Uh huh.
History Maker feels like a real baseball game.
Does it really?
It
Okay.
feels like it's telling a story. He he does a great job with his games,
Yeah.
particularly baseball.
Nice. That's good to know. I mean, I've watched other guys play it. The thing that holds me back again is like I've got to check what does the decider die say, and I that yanks me out right there. I'm like, but yeah, I mean, but yet the guy, the person inside me that plays, that loves RPGs, right, role playing games. It's like this should be the perfect baseball game for me because it is an unfolding narrative through the game, and it's not just looking at stats. So I like the creative approach to it. I think it's cool, and for Jeff, it serves that need. Guys, what else? I mean, come on, please. What are you guys looking for? Why do you have? What are your go-to games and why? And by the way, I'm showing here now is just one part of Diamond Mine Baseball. I'm just trying to switch around some digital games here a little bit so we can. So I don't people say, oh, see, there's Beatles pimping out of the park baseball again. So there we go. Because this game I love too. Um, so guys, please feel free. We got to get Tim on here because I'd like to him because he's really he's a strat guy, and I love strat. I love how Tim approaches it. Man, he's kind of got a very cool kind of very gamer. It's like what a lot of us might have done. Having that just that strip of paper there and boom, 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 and he's keeping score, on the score sheet, but he's got that Wrigley Field board there, and I think it's cool. Tim says, so "Come on, we'll get him on here in a minute." What do you say, Bernie? Well, we're gonna have a menage of baseball podcast here for a few minutes. You good with that?
Sounds like it's okay with me.
Awesome. So let's get H Field. I want to see what he says here. He says he's done long-term 50-plus year fictional leagues of out of the park baseball. He says they're so immersive, and the plus is you always go in without preconceived notions on how they should perform. Excellent. John says that he says he's thinking of starting an out of the park franchise league in 1901 and moving forward. Good luck, buddy. That's a big project. There's some guys in the out of the park boards that started in 1871. I don't know if any of those guys ever got through it all, but wow, I think that's super cool. John is another person who likes dead ball. He's very, very active in our the first Ned McGreevy League. Hope he'll come back for the next iteration. So Parallel League says, I love Fast Inning Baseball by Al Wilson. Quick version of History Maker Baseball. You should just get Al Wilson stuff because the dude is he's just super cool, isn't he? Just super, super cool. Let me copy this and put this in the thing for Tim. Okay. Where's the chat? So I guess we can all agree the perfect baseball sim is never going to happen, right? Can we agree? We all agreed on that. It's not going to happen. Because how would we know it when it did happen, right? It's here. It's perfect. It does it all. It even buys me hot dogs and gets me dates with Kate Beckinsale, right?
That's fairly funny, but maybe now with the AI voices, you should make Kate's voice come out on your baseball games.
You understand if that happened, Bernie, I could never broadcast live because YouTube would block me because I would be making anyhow. Bart, what can I say? Oh my God. So I watch the Underworld movies at least once a month because I need my Kate fix, man. All right, we got Clee baseball fan. Hey Tim, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for having me on.
Oh,
Hey, Tim.
welcome. Bart Lowe, welcome in, man. Bart says, let me show it again. I'm such an idiot here. He says he enjoys playing Inside Pitch, PC version for season replays. So, Bart, what is it about Inside Pitch that gives you that maybe you enjoy playing that for season replays versus say APA, Strat, whatever, in terms of what the game does? So,
Right.
Tim, we're talking about this nebulous concept of perfection. So,
Right.
what's your 38 cents on that because of inflation?
My
Before
less than a postage stamp in 2025
Right.
is I don't, as much as I kind of enjoy having all the rosters for like Pocket Pennant Run, the
Mhm.
clicking kind of it's mindless. I mean, I have to be involved, like rolling the dice. It's gonna be different every time, and
Mhm.
I also don't want one of the big complaints I have with Pocket Pennant Run is the cards are cookie cutter for like you have A players and B players. Well, can we make it like an A plus player or like an A like
Right. Which
the
they are,
the
which they are
ranges
going to
of
be doing. But yes, at the moment, you're right. But that is changing. But please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that I kind of like with Strat that I kind of noticed with Inside Pitch and Robert does a fantastic job
Yes, he
being the
does.
Inside Pitch or spokesperson.
Hmm.
Uh, like have a safe run out. I don't need the roll. Oh, we rolled this number. Now we have to roll another one to see if they're really out. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
safe out. No, be done with it.
Be done with it. Yeah.
But hey,
So, Bart,
that's just what I say. But then again, I'm also it would be kind of it's also the one thing that I don't think Strat does very well is the fact that I could have Randy Johnson from like 2001,
right.
and he's not going to get 300 strikeouts if you're not getting the majority off his card.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's where I think Inside Pitch does a little better with the fact of, oh, if you have his card and somebody strikes out 300 batters,
Hmm.
the majority of or a lot of his card in the better numbers is going to be strikeout chance.
So Bart says, and talking about inside pitching, so my coach, he says he likes the pitcher batter interaction, and
Yeah,
this was
and
something that Bernie mentioned earlier about payoff pitch baseball. Feels like real baseball, and that what did the pitcher throw? It starts with the pitcher.
I mean,
Huh?
there's digital dice that had to come out like during their pre-Christmas stuff. How much do you want on your plate? Do you want the pitcher batter, or do you just want run roll and kind of be done with it?
Hmm.
So
Guys, what do you think? I think Tim asks a great question here.
I mean, if you want really, is it and perfect for you might not be perfect for somebody else.
Right. Very, very true. Hfield here, he says, payoff pitch for cards and dice. He loves with the batter pitcher interaction. Good game. He says he hasn't tried telling Bart that he hasn't tried inside pitch yet, but the videos he's seen looks great. And it's David Baseball Demos and especially RJO Network. That's those are go-to sources. Midlife Crisis telling us here they did a Steve Carlton replay in basic strat, and his numbers were almost on point. So Hfield goes on here and says, plus Inside Pitch has his favorite all the 90 seasons, which most games do not. Might have to snag that game next.
Agreed.
So
That,
here's another thing then, guys, is if we're talking about so going back to midlife crisis's point here, and well actually we'll just pick up his next one. It's the same thing. He said I did a Greg Maddux replay in Deep Drive, another 50-50 game, and his numbers were right on. So so Bernie talked about believability, which is where I agree with Bernie. I'm more on the believability side, but a lot of you guys are like about okay, comparing those stats with actually what happened. So is that for you one of your criteria for the quote unquote perfect baseball sim? And that's not a bad thing. We're just trying to get a sense of where everybody is on this.
I
Bart
mean,
says he only plays digital games. Okay.
okay, that's fair. Like I said, I'm kind of not. It's the clicking mindlessly kind of. I need to have something to interact with, or it's kind of okay, okay.
And see, for me, it's the opposite, Tim. And again, I'm not, and I know you're not knocking digital games, and I'm not
No,
knocking cards and dice games. For me, I can watch that action in Out of the Park Baseball or Action PC. I can listen to Ernie Harwell, and when I play it on here, I let the computer manage the computer because I just want to kick back and listen to Ernie call the game. You can manage in that game, and I like that because in real baseball, right? Those managers aren't rolling dice and looking at charts. They're calling plays like I've got to. So
well,
for me, the
they
immersion,
look at certain charts later in the game of okay, well this pitcher does better against this batter.
right? But I guess what I'm saying, yeah, they well certainly, but again, and we bring up this guy here, Action PC sort of is going to give me that as well in its player batter comparison tool that changes in game and tracks what these players have done. So I'm not disputing you. I guess what I should say, rather, I should have been more clear. So when Jimmy Leyland was managing the Bucks in the early '90s, he didn't have to throw a decider die,
No, 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 no.
and so see that pulls me out of, or was and so that's both a I guess an inside pitch thing and
Unless
a
the decider die was, do I really want to kill Barry Bonds today?
don't want to kill right, which almost happened a few times and should have. Um, so Ken says, pardon me, guys. He says, I would argue that no matter the platform, most modern games produce satisfactory stats. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be any argument with that. Um, so maybe I don't know how to do a poll here in this thing. If I was doing regular old chat, but let's just do a formal yay or nay. Just family. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the first one. Is one of your criteria for baseball sim perfection accuracy in a season replay? Just type Y or N, or just type Y or N. I just want to just get a rough sense. If you guys don't mind hitting that old key there. Parallel League says I like the fact that nowadays with helpers you can play cards and dice as a bit of a hybrid. Yeah, Digital Diamond, Baseball Strat allows you to do it. Um, Obviously, Pocket Pennant Run, and those games, again, you know that hybrid designation, they're closing that chasm that we've talked about. Oh, look at the votes coming in here now. Look at this. All right, so Bart says yes. Cousin Ken says yes. Hey, Buckshot. Holy shit, Mr. Shot, how are you doing? He says yes. Sam says no. Parallel League is a no. H Field is a no. So okay, it looks like we got us a hung jury here.
Yeah.
Ernie, do you want to cast a vote or not?
No, I
We're not going
want
to
their
piss
opinion.
anybody off.
I want their opinions.
Yeah, so do I. Like I said, they're the stars of the show. Okay, so it seems like the community split. Okay, Next question. And again, this is not about what is better or what isn't. If you feel I'm doing pretty well, Mr. Shot. I've missed you, you bum. Of course, I've heard through the grapevine you're not around a lot either. So I guess, man, got to catch up sometime, buddy. Yeah, talk some politics too. Sam says, perfect game might be out of the park baseball for real now. Well, yeah, 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 absolutely. Okay, so repeat the question, John. Did you vote? You're not allowed to vote twice. Okay, you didn't, because I thought you were going to do the Mark Twain thing: vote early, vote often. So, okay, Jeff says yes for plausibility rather than hardcore accuracy. Okay, so Jeff's playing it kind of. Jeff's playing it like we Bucko fans would play it. We're gonna like, yeah, we're cool. We're on the North Shore, man. This is what we're doing. So, John, my question was: is one of the criteria that you have for what you would consider moving toward a perfect baseball sim, that you want the stats to be accurate, or, as Bernie and I would say, believable? So Jeff is kind of playing it. Jeff's gonna. He's kind of okay. Jeff, he's doing mezza mez, as they say in Italian, right? Tim, what about you, brother? What about you? What's yeah? What do you want
I,
believability or do you
I
want
would like to
accuracy?
say believable. If I can get it within, say, 10 points of batting average, within about like, 3 to 5 home runs, and maybe about 5 or 6 RBIs, I'm
Okay.
okay.
All right. John's in the believable category too. Mr. Shot says I want accuracy. So BBN Sports Replay, guys, good channel there. This is Buckshot, but he's Mr. Shot to me, and I'm Mr. Eternally to him. But what a great, great guy. So check out that channel too. I don't know if he's back to broadcasting, but he was doing a lot with the Fields of Dreams League. But he says I want accuracy, but like Bernie, I want to be able to change or do a new historical narrative. Okay, cool.
One of the things that I find fascinating about
Hmm.
uh, action PC baseball, as you know, you were part of Field of Dreams for a couple of years,
Yeah,
and we're now on our 14th baseball season. Hard to believe.
that's amazing, and congratulations to you guys.
One of the things I really like, it is a normalized cross era league with 16 teams currently.
Okay.
Players from the dead ball era, players from before the dead ball era, players
Hmm.
from 2024, all heaped together in one pile,
Hmm.
shaken up, and put into 16 teams. Some of the statistics you get out of this are so, at first you think they're unbelievable,
Hmm.
but then you think about normalization, you think about what would happen to the average the really good baseball player, today's Major League Baseball player, guy who hits 300 with 20 home runs.
Uh-huh.
Let let's use him as an example.
Okay.
What would happen if he faced all-star pitching in every game he played? What would he hit?
He ain't gonna.
And he and
He's not
he
gonna be
would
a
hit
300 hitter.
and he would hit exactly what we've discovered in Field of Dreams. That 300 hit is going to hit 220.
Yeah.
And I really love Action PC for the ability to mix those cross errors and do all that stuff. It's really exciting for me.
Yeah. Action PC does that very well, and to be fair, so does Out of the Park. It does cross arrow very well too. And so it's, yeah, 220 if you're lucky. Yeah. So imagine facing a rotation, and I won't even keep it to dead ball pitchers, but let's just say that you're going to face Eddie Plank, you're going to face Ed Walsh, Christy Mathewson, Lefty Grove, Carl Hubble. You face that 5-man rotation, and it's going to be hard to hit 300 against those guys. A few
How
guys are
how
going to be
does
able to do
how
it,
does
but yeah.
how does Out of the Park differ with their normalization than Action PC? I don't because I don't really know that. I never play
Okay.
Out of the Park that way.
I'll do a tutorial on it tonight, and you'll see it does it very well. So it does do you can normalize to cross era. It's awesome the way it does it. Very, very good. And in fact, you can set up different leagues to do. Um, In fact, another game that does it super well, and you guys are going to laugh, but Richard is apparently working on it, is Dombrov Baseball. Dombrov Baseball, perhaps more than any digital baseball game that I've seen, really nails cross arrow play and in creative ways too. Once Richard like works on that abominable the font scaling and everything. I'm going to show you guys how deep that goes with cross arrow play. It's pretty cool. But I'll do a tutorial some night on Out of the Park Baseball and how to do it. I definitely would do that. Beyond the scope of tonight. And you know what, Mr. Schott, if anybody's going to have the Flying Dutchman, he says, I have some player named H. Wagner on my team. I'm glad it's you, my friend. He says, Buckshot also says, but also that tier 2 ERA is going to have a much higher ERA facing some great batters one after the other. That's an interesting question. So now we're getting into another sort of thing about perfection is back to something I had touched on earlier is the ability to create what you want. So we talked about, Bernie, you talked about Action PC and how well you can normalize to eras. And you're absolutely right. In fact, it was thanks to Steve Tate who saved iteration one of the McGreevy League because we had all just thought, well, let's just pick 1906 National League because that was in the middle of the years we were doing. And so we were doing some games and we noticed that we Willie Keeler was striking out all over the place. This was a guy that was one of the hardest hitters to strike out ever in the entirety of baseball history. So Steve Tate started coming around. He said, and we're saying, yeah, Steve, what's going on here, man? You're the Action PC guy. He said, well, what's your normalization year? And I said, 1906. He said, let me check something. And he came back. He said, try 1900. He said, have a look at 1900. So we went into the game. And I mean, it's right up here, the game. I'm like I said, flying around between sims. And we looked and we set it to 1900. And all of a sudden, Wee Willie Keeler wasn't striking out anymore. Sliding Billy Hamilton was stealing bases like he did. And so, why I love this is probably my number two game after Out of the Park Baseball, between this Baseball for Windows, because of just how I can create that cross era play here. And Pocket Pennant Run has another interesting take on that too. And I hope they develop it more. But I do like that, Bernie. I think you're absolutely right. This is one of the strengths of Action PC baseball is it's easy to set up cross arrow play on this thing and do normalizing.
You
Love
know, I do want to mention something, Beatles.
please.
You'll be proud of me because I haven't mentioned it until
Hmm.
now. But this is not a Sunday evening chinwag. It's our podcast, and we've been an hour and 10 minutes. So I
You
just
know
want
how I am, Bernie. We got
I
good
do.
momentum here, buddy. Do you want to just hang for a little bit? I'll
Yeah, I
keep.
don't
I'll
mind
keep.
hanging.
I'll keep just talking shit here with everybody. I'm loving it. So Bernie's here. He's going to say stuff when he feels as though it's necessary. See, when we're on his channel, right? So Bernie would be like, "We're at an hour," and he let me go an hour and a half last time. So we're gonna hang for a little while longer. We got 22 people in, so let's hang for a little bit. But this is all Bernie's idea, and I just want to say to him really quickly, thank you for this idea of doing this Diamonds and Dice podcast, and thank you to everybody, Bernie. Weekly, bi-weekly, whatever, and or when it comes time, I think he's trying to keep me motivated in this because it was my fault we took a year off from this. The people are really responding favorably to this, and Bernie and I would both like to thank Dave Gardner as he was kind of the idea for this digital dice. So he and Ron Juckett, thank you for giving us an amazing idea. We're not trying to compete with you. We're just taking a very different approach. Um, and I think there's room for both of us. So thanks to Dave and Ron for that. Midlife Crisis says, plus we're taking a guy from Forbes Field, which is great base hitters ballpark in 1925 with 350, and put in a pitcher's ballpark for 81 games in cross air, and he's going to hit 220. Absolutely. Um, John says here that like perfect team and out of the park, everyone has sucky stats. H Field Ot7 says, Beatles, you and Ron have gotten me more into, so Ron Juckett, yeah. has gotten him more into Action P this year. Bought 5 decade sets in the all-time set in the past 6 months. So, brother, you got to get yourself the baseball history collection. Not baseball complete. You don't need that. But get baseball history collection. You have a blast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you're loving it. And here's a guy that said, this guy is one of the big guns in the out of the park community. I'm so glad to have him here. Buckshot says, man, it's okay. What a guy. Bart Lowe says, oh, okay, so here we go. Another one. So he prefers open engine to closed engine games as far as immersion. So that's an interesting thing about immersion. I'm not gonna rouse Bernie. He'll just jump in if he wants to say something. But I do believe that we had done, and I'd like to revisit the topic about the open engine and closed engine, and how that because we never talked about it in terms of immersion so much as about believability. Some people, RJO Network, he has said, I don't know that I trust, I can trust the roll of a dice if he's not playing against somebody who's a sleight of hand artist. No, so I get where that's coming from, sir. So that transparency. Let's revisit that. So for Bart, that is also, I would think, one of the criteria towards the perfect baseball sim. It's got to have an open engine, right? So that's gonna knock Action PC and out of the park, and Baseball for Windows out for you, and Strat PC and Inside Pitch are going to be more in your wheelhouse for that. And Digital Diamond Baseball, by the way. Samo says another perfect game would be Diamond Mine with an old time radio announcer talking in the background. Yeah, Diamond Mine still has the best play by play. And for me, it's got to be that freedom. It's got to be that immersion. And that freedom comes in many different forms. And that is taking this. So, what you guys are seeing on the screen right now is one of the great free resources, H-Field, that you should be getting for Action PC Baseball. Thanks to the kindness of Steve Tate. This is the 5-year franchises for the National League. There's also an American League set for this. These are not using. These are all every player in here, and there's a pile. There's like 90 some teams for the National League and 90 for the American League. Steve carded each and every player, rated each and every player. This is a must-have. You can find it in the APC communities. So get this. This is really, really great stuff. So I'll pick one to explain it a little bit and why I love it so much. So let's take the bums here for the Brooklyn Dodgers. So this is actually the Brooklyn Dodgers between 1951 and 55. So what Steve originally set out to do was to create a project that kind of told the story of these franchises and their winning years. Later on, Steve started adding franchise years that weren't so good because he realized that players like Ralph Kiner weren't here because he played for the Pirates when they were really bad, even worse than they are this year. But anyhow, these are free. Get them. But I love this kind of freedom, and that Action PC allows you, as does Out of the Park Baseball and many others. Re-rate players, rate them. You don't like go in and change it. You're not stuck with that. So I realize with cards and dice games you can't do that, and that doesn't say again that then they suck. No, it's not that at all. Tim, what as far as what are the criteria do you have, man? I mean, do you have other criteria? I mean, because I know you play you're like probably the most responsible member in this family. And that you don't spend a gazillion dollars on a ton of baseball sims. I mean, you don't.
No.
I don't know, how do you do it? I mean, how do you not do it?
Because I know part of it is why have more than you know that you can play. You know.
Yeah. I need to learn that lesson. Maybe someday I will.
I think part of it is also you don't want the perfect game should not take you 3 hours to play.
Okay.
Then again, it's also like the speed of play. You know, I think after, especially if I'm filming something, I know people are going to get bored after about an hour unless the game is really good.
Mm-hmm.
and that could also be me hopefully not going off on too many tangents, which means it better not be a blowout.
Right, right, right.
uh, but no, I think part of it is I want speed of play. I don't want, five rolls to, if it's a ground out the second, I don't want, two other things goes, oh, did he bobble it or anything? No, no, it's just a ground out the, you
Right,
know,
right, right.
I want simplicity but depth.
So, but let me ask you, and again, I'm not trying to say come to the dark side and spend all your money because we have cookies, but Bernie, are you still there? I said I wasn't
I,
going to rouse him, but
I am still there, but I'm going to need to cut out in about 10 minutes because
okay.
I have another obligation.
But the thing is, Bernie, is you lend respectability to this whole thing, and so when you leave, they're stuck with me.
Well, listen,
So that's why I'm keeping Tim on here because because Tim's respectable as well.
yeah. Well, I think I think he's a good partner for you.
He is, but what are you asking for a divorce? You're not going to get
No, are you kidding me? I love the, you
you're not
know,
going to get the cars. No, it ain't going to be that easy, pal.
you and I had such interesting conversations over the period of time that after we first met, which is what gave me the idea for this podcast. I says, why don't we have a conversation that everybody can enjoy?
Hmm.
So that's why we're doing it. This is the stuff you and I would talk about privately.
Well, Bernie, you do have one thing you got to answer here. So, Parallel League asks, Bernie, what is your channel called?
What is my chance? Sports replays.
Bernie Strom Sports Replays. I'll be a nice guy and type it into the chat. I don't know why.
Thanks. I don't even know what it's
No,
called.
it's Bernard, because I used to call you Bernard, and you said I prefer to be called Bernie. So Bernard Strom's Sports Replay. Now, it's really, really good stuff. What Bernie does is his channel. Just be aware that he is a rabid Red Sox fan, and he gets involved in these games, and it's fun. So he tries to reach in, but it's a
It
great
also
channel.
works in tandem with my Facebook page because I do the day to day write ups of and the box scores of the replays on Facebook, but I only do the games on the channel maybe once every week or two.
Enjoy the channel though. It's really great. So Parallel League says he's going to check you out. You'll love it. You're going to love it. Bernie knows his baseball, and I always got to give a lot of love to Bernie too for being open enough minded to give dead ball baseball a look, and he likes it now. So guys, it's here's a man's been a baseball fan longer than pretty much anybody in here except for maybe Ken and Clinton, and he allowed himself to go into a whole new era of baseball and is a big fan. So,
Wait till you see the next project I have.
uh oh,
I'm going to do a Red Sox replay where they didn't trade Babe Ruth.
oh, there you go. That's going to piss off a lot of Yankees fans. I think that'd be
That's
beautiful.
okay with me.
I figure it would be being a Red Sox fan. You should be. Although Bernie, tell them who your second favorite team is.
My second favorite team is the Yankees
Yeah, my God, that still blows my mind. Yep.
because who doesn't like a winner?
Who doesn't like a winner? Well, there you go, guys. I think the only, and this is why Bernie lives on the left side of the country, because Bernie, I think you're the only Red Sox fan that would actually say that. But you also told me you don't like the Yankees. Is that right?
I don't like them, but I root
Right.
for them.
Yeah, so that's you heard it here, gents. How about it, man? So Bernie, thank you. I know you got to cut out, and thank you for lending respectability, credibility, but seriously, most importantly, your friendship, your knowledge, man. You're one of the great guys in this entire community that we have, and looking forward to what we're going to be doing in August on your channel. So we
You
have
got
no
it.
idea what's
We'll have
next.
to have that conversation. I'm not sure what we're going to have, but it will be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. In the
Hmm.
meantime, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thanks everybody for coming by and joining us in today's conversation. And I'm sure Beatles, you will keep these guys. I'll wake up in the morning and you'll still be on with these guys.
No, no, no,
No,
because
no, 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 no.
no,
I'm
because
I'm
four
I'm
thirty in the
trying.
morning comes way early.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. Thanks, Tim. I'm trying to be merciful to these guys and trying to really cut these things short. Everybody wishing you a good night. Um, Parallel Lee's going to rub it in here about the Bucks here. Read today that the Pirates lost
That's
Today
right. They
dropped the
dropped
franchise.
below 500 for the first time in over a century.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very sad. I just waiting because I thought day is going to come because the Pirates had always been all time. They've been above 500, and now we are below 500 as a franchise. And the way Bob Nutting is, we're going to stay that way for a while. And I'm getting ready for the Paul Skeens farewell show because I know it's going to happen.
Anyway, thanks everybody for coming by, and I'm out of here. I will see you all next month.
All right.
Well, we'll see you before then, Bernie, on your channel.
You got it. Take it
All
easy.
right. Um, so Parallel League says he's a Pirates fan too. So more Buccos fans coming out of the closet. Now there's like 9 of us now in the community. There's never going to be enough of us to eclipse the Red Sox fans in this community. But go Bucks, he says.
So
So because I follow him on Facebook.
Beatles.
Nice.
I think what you could rename this to would be, how ESPN used to have their Sunday conversations.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe what you should call this: the Sunday conversation between Beatles and Bernie. But I do
Well,
like
when
the name of the thing.
I like it, but with me, it's a train wreck. We know that. We know that. We know. So when Bernie's here, it's a conversation. When he's not, it's a train wreck. And then people just come in. It's like, all right, what's Beatles going to
Yeah,
ramble about now? So the
yeah,
Phillies, our cross-state rival, they finally reached 500 in the last couple of years. Yes, it was always that Pittsburgh could have those bragging rights, even though they're the smaller, by far, a magnitude smaller than Philadelphia. We could always say, yeah, but our baseball team's better than yours. Not anymore. Now we've even lost that bragging right. So Bartlow's a Yankees fan here. Let's have a little fun really quickly. Everybody, just quickly. And Tim, I know you're obviously by your name, Cleveland. Guys, so let me know. Just just type in who's your favorite baseball team, Major League Baseball team, please. There's another Major League movie coming. 2 and 3 sucked. You're right, Samuel. And they're going to make another one. The only one was the first one was amazing.
yeah.
Um,
I wish. Now looking back on it, with the parts with uh, Jake and Rene Russo's character, they could have left that whole stuff out.
Well, she was a bit of a babe, though. But okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But one of my favorite parts of that movie wasn't it. They made it funny at the end, but I liked when Jake was up there, hit the mock home run. I was like, that's cool. That was super cool because, but I mean, to me, it was believable in a way because, like, okay, here's a guy that maybe yeah, I just love. But I thought the movie was great. I loved the groundskeepers in Major League.
Yeah.
God,
I but one of my all time just whys is they wanted to make it look like county. They wanted to make it look like Cleveland Stadium, but it was filmed in Milwaukee's County
Milwaukee.
Stadium.
Yeah.
If you really wanted Cleveland realism, if you knew that the NBC affiliate wasn't what's listed for Cleveland, either cover it up or make a temporary signage.
Good point. Good point.
Because,
Yeah, go
spoiler
ahead.
alert, Channel 4 is not the Cleveland NBC affiliate.
All right, so here we go. People started coming in. So H Field, he says he's a Yankees fan. He says all he dislikes unrealistic Yankees fans, which is the bulk of the fan base. Midlife, of course, of Fightins. He's the Fightin' Phils.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Ray, we'll get back to him because he actually put in. Oh no, shows Jeff Ray's a Bucko fan. Yay. John is a Braves fan first, then the Cubbies. A parallel league is Reds, then the Bucks, then the Indians, then the Mets. Okay, Samuel Smith. Sam, you might be. Tim, correct me. I think Samuel's our first Mariners fan in the community.
That could be, yeah.
Yeah, because D. Scott Howard is in the Pacific Northwest, but he's a Dodger fan.
All right.
So we have a Mariners fan. That's cool. Parallel League says you lived in New Jersey for 5 years, met a guy with Mets season tickets, so you went to a lot of Mets games late '90s. Okay. What's really weird is because this community has this, Tim. You've been around this community as long as I have. We got a lot of Red Sox fans, and apparently none of them are in here tonight. But there's a
Wow.
lot of Red Sox fans. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of why that might be, because usually the and like I said, I guess the gaming base is all over. But from what I've heard conversations of is that a lot of the big areas for like Stratomatic are like Chicago and you know Cleveland and probably
Right.
the West. So I mean, I like this, and I'm sure there are game clubs that happen all around our stretch trying to do the whole game club thing, and you know,
Yeah.
but I mean, if it's the Northeast is what we get, then I'm sure it comes around. I mean, RJL is in Florida, but of course, he grew up in New York. So I mean, it's
So
how
he's a
many,
Met.
how many
Yeah.
people grew up in New York and then just move across the nation.
Right. And he's a Mets guy. So, but all the Red Sox fans, I guess, have boycotted me. I don't know, man. There's not one in here. That's okay. We love
Let's
you,
just
Red
have him show
Sox
up when
fans.
Bernie shows up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Bernie, or one Red Sox fan here tonight, had a prior or another engagement. Guys, I don't know how much we can't really pad things much out more here. I think it's been
Right.
for me a pretty tight discussion because we know what things are like. So I don't know what's coming up next month. Tim, do you got any projects going on right now?
No, because I've kind of just been in a kind of daze. But I think
Okay.
when I put in the comments for, I kind of extrapolated it out. Now, I may make a slight adjustment to the 1998 Yankees postseason roster, and I may include Daryl Strawberry instead of Shane Spencer. But I know why they put Shane Spencer in because he was better defensively after looking at Strawberry's card.
Hmm.
Uh, but it seems like I've got all the 76 Reds there. So, I mean, the 98 Yankees are the best baseball team that I have, with the Reds probably being 76 Reds being the second best.
That'd be a hell of a game right there. That'd just be fun just to roll that up, play it up, whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I could do like what Demos is doing with the 84 and 75 84 Tigers and 75 Reds.
right.
Just kind of and then with the fact that I'm not sure if I want to play max, pay max now to get the whatchamacallit, I'm not sure how many more strap things I'm going to get unless I just say, well, I'm going to get it just to play tournaments.
Man, I so wish I could do what you do, Tim. I wish I could do it. I can't limit myself. It's embarrassing. The Steam library is close to 3,000 games just on its own. I'm never going to play these games, man. But I'm like, I have to have this game.
It's,
It's
it's like
really
I have a
bad.
Sega Genesis sitting right in front of me, and I have all the games, and it's like, do I ever play it? No.
Someday I'll come on here. I'll shock you guys. I'm down to 10 baseball games. I'm like Tim now. That'd be as close as I'm going to get,
Yeah.
man.
I know a
Bart
lot of it
Lowe.
is. It's like, okay, I have enough 70 seasons right now.
Yeah.
I have 97 and 98. If 95 ever came out, that's an insta buy
Instabuy, yeah.
for me. I mean, granted, I could go do either inside pitch or payoff pitch and probably get 95 right now if I wanted.
But you could do it by just getting Strat Max. I
Yeah.
know. I'm trying. I have to try a little bit, Tim. Right? I have to try a little bit. I have to try
Yeah.
to
And then
tweak
there's the whole screenshotting. I have
it.
no way of recording it. And, like I have no way to record, you
Mm,
know, uh, pocket pennant run,
yeah.
so it's like, I got to have something on the table.
Well, I don't know if you keep up with their Facebook group, but they are working, and they are working on moving away from just the ABCD thing. So, still a lot of development going on. Again, I'm glad you picked it up. Anyhow, it kind of makes me happy. You know.
Thank my mom for getting it for me for Christmas.
Thank you, Mrs. Tim. Thank you, Mrs. Tim's mom. So Ken here says, ironically, there are no long-standing tournaments in New England, despite the Red Sox population. Interesting stuff. Bart Loaf says that most Red Sox fans on YouTube come from New England, and yeah, well, we will have to talk, Mr. Schott. Um, he says when we talk politics, he says very sad story to tell me. Yikes, scary. Okay. Um, and H. says playing action PC and Tom Murphy is no hitting me. Is no hitting him through six. 1970 Angels versus the 1970 Yankees. Um,
That's something I still have yet to do, is throw a no hitter.
I've had one, and it was on this channel. And Scott McGregor almost had one the other night, but damn it, lost it. Yeah. So those are hard. Robbie Wartburg, may his memory be eternal, buys baseball for Windows in the first week, has 3 no hitters. I've only had one in every digital baseball game I've ever played. Now, I mean, there's ones like so in the McGreevy League, we actually had a perfect game. Tim Keefe threw a perfect game. Um, yeah, but it wasn't. It was a game that we just didn't play that night. We were playing whatever two teams they were, and we actually had a perfect game. Damn it! But never even came close. I've only ever had one player hit for the cycle too, and that was Jimmy Fox.
Yeah.
So I've
But
had the
then
cycle
again,
once and the no hitter. That's it.
I think Spokane Steve has had the one rare. I'm not sure. I've heard many people. He had Hank Aaron hit 4 homers in a game.
Hmm. Never
So
had a 4 homer game either.
yeah, I
Jeez.
don't think I've ever had a 3 homer game.
Oh, now here's the pot calling the kettle a kitchen implement. Welcome in, legends. We were invoking you earlier. Says what a motley crew this is. How you
A
doing,
motley crew
buddy?
with better singing.
Better singing, right? So legends right now, doing some other non-baseball stuff, but we still love them. So, but we were talking about you earlier. Always good stuff. So, guys, if you don't know Legend Sports Universe, that channel, check it out. You got baseball, you got hockey, you got basketball, you got American football. It doesn't have Kate Beckinsale though. Does not have Kate Beckinsale, but we'll work on that. But no, it's seriously great stuff. Looking forward to season 5 of the Franchise Stars Baseball League. Hint, 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 nudge, nudge, wink, wink, say no more, Squire. Todd B, there's the other Indians fan, Guardians fan, whatever, in the that I know. I think, are you guys the only two Indians fans?
Well, that are Maine, yes.
Okay.
Well,
You
and
and Todd.
who's the kid that Gardner interviewed for at Play.con?
I don't remember.
Jeff, I think. Hold on.
So he's
Oh,
an Indians fan as well, or Guardians
well,
fan.
he doesn't live too. He's not far from where I am.
Okay, cool.
So he's a Northeast Ohio guy.
Gotcha. Todd B says he's thought about doing a project using multiple game engines, but don't need another project, but would do a co-op. Pretty cool. Legend Sports Universe tells me, and I'm very happy that, in fact, Kate Beckinsale is a prospect. All right. Now, HL says it's Micah something or other.
Oh,
Yeah.
Micah Wimmer is the kid's.
Micah Wimmer.
Yeah, if you see him around, he's in the Cleveland area.
Um, so Midlife Crisis didn't have one in the tabletop for 45 years, and last year, um, Dan Petrie, tossed a no hitter. And about a week ago, Hershiser tossed a perfecto in his 85 Strat replay cards and dice. Man, oh man, legends. So, have you had any like in your baseball gaming, right? Because I know you came from Allen Park Baseball and you're doing MLB the show. Have you ever had any no hitters, cycles, any cool stuff like that you want to share? 4 homer games. We're already way off the topic now. We finished that when Bernie. We have some respectability left because Tim is still here, but it's pretty much now a Beatles train wreck.
Yeah, and
So
I'm gonna have to get going in about probably 10 minutes.
then we're totally screwed. That's when I'll go to.
Okay.
Legends here says wrapping up basketball playoffs, getting American football ready for year 2, but he started making the prospects for year 5 of the Franchise Stars Baseball League. I can't wait. Man, what a great postseason that was this year. Let me see. Midlife says you had Lefty Grove. Oh man, Lefty Grove throwing a perfect game. Jeez, Lefty Grove, one of my favorite pitchers of all time. Still waiting to debate Robert on Lefty Grove versus Sandy Koufax. Polite debate. It's going to be fun. We just got to get somebody to moderate it. Maybe we'll get Bernie to do it. Oh, so Legend says that Rube Waddell threw no hitter in year 1. Okay, I guess I missed that. Jeez. Franchise Stars Baseball League and Kurt Schilling threw a perfecto in year 4. God, you people are blessed. Okay.
Yeah.
While I was broadcasting Lefty Grove, I think I remember you tell. Yes, I remember that night now, Midlife Crisis. You were saying Grove tossed the perfect game. Wish we would have had a way to just tune in because whatever I was doing was nowhere near as interesting as something like that. Todd B says he had a cycle in order, so a natural cycle. I think that's like the rarest thing in baseball. Single, double, triple homer. If anybody's interested, Terry Steinbach did it of all people. How about that?
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so they were in the sim. So have you ever had one just playing out? Legends, like when you were playing and watching a game that you had a no hitter, perfect game, 4 homer game, natural cycle, or even just the cycle? How do you get a natural cycle, dude? I mean, how many times does that actually happen in baseball? Tim, I think I asked you that before. Didn't we talk about this point?
It's in the low teens, I think.
Yeah, it's like crazy, crazy low. Smokey Joe had a perfect game with an altered Catico All Star game that includes pitchers, says Hfield 7.
14.
14 natural cycles in the history of baseball.
Mhm.
So there you go. I stand a much
Yeah,
better
well,
chance
it's
of getting
been
that date with Kate Beckinsale.
almost 20 years since we've had one.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Parallel League, you were here for that. Yeah,
Last
and
done by
the Ernie game.
Sarge's kid,
Wow,
Gary
that's
Matthews.
crazy.
Gary Matthews Jr. had the last natural cycle.
Okay. Well, Mister Shot, thank you for coming in. We're going to call it a night, and
All right.
we'll be catching up. Tim, thank you very much for coming in
No
tonight.
problem.
Let's do one of your games again sometime here real soon. Yeah,
All
please.
right. Will do.
Okay, man.
All
All
right.
right, we're going to pick up at a couple last comments. Thank you again, Tim, and we're
Right.
going to call it a night on this side here in Pennsylvania. So Legend says he says he's sure he said cycle Steve Carlton threw no in his old all out of the park all time baseball league that I watched, but that was before he had a channel. Okay, cool. So guys, thank you. And again, this was as with anything, this is there's never going to be the perfect baseball sim. It's what you want it to be. And if the baseball game, cards and dice or digital that you're playing is as close to perfection or for you is perfect, then damn it, it's perfect and play it and play it and play it and have fun. Um, that said, for me, if Out of the Park 26 had an Ernie Harwell style announcer that was as in depth as Ernie Harwell, it would be king. If MLB the Show, and this is where we were talking about you, Legends, because you had mentioned about that you're still with MLB the Show 22. Nothing wrong with that. Great game because there's not the support to bring those rosters across from edition to edition. But if MLB the Show would realize that modders make a game live, and if they actually would allow that and really open the engine up and develop that, MLB the Show would be the unbeatable baseball sim. It just really, really would be. And again, I've praised you so much, and I continue to do so with what you've done in that game. Just amazing. Midlife crisis. Yep, everybody. Midlife saying thank you to everybody, and we've been on for a little while. I want to thank all you guys for coming in. This was really, really fun. And the next Diamonds and Dice podcast will be sometime in August on Bernie Strom's channel. So we'll keep everybody updated. And until the next time, we'll see you around the batting cage, guys. And go check out everybody's channel. Join the Ned McGreevy Discord if you haven't, and just chat. Everybody, it's all good. All right. See you around. Good night.